Fugitive Space by Marc Scott Zicree. Interior, futuristic helicopter gunship, day. Slow motion, dreamlike, the sounds of the rotor hypnotic. We're close on Fanning, the pilot, attractive, competent, her face full of emotion, but just what that emotion might be we can't yet say. Light and shadow from offstage dust and the helo blades play over her face.
Last night I dreamed I was in my bird and I was free.
We come around her until we see over her shoulder through the windshield that she's arriving on the scene of what appears to be a massacre, partly obscured by all the dust in the air.
Then the world reached up and dragged me down.
Some feet below, ahead of the helo, men, women, and children in Tunisian garb are running for their lives towards and under the gunship as weapons fire plays around them, striking some from an unknown source on the other side of all that dust. Smash cut to interior Earth prisoner processing facility, day, on a pair of hands being electronically shackled. Fanning is being handcuffed by Fincher, an asshole prison guard. Fincher holds a remote device that controls the shackles.
Too tight?
Fanning says nothing, though they clearly are. Fincher punches a command that makes them even tighter.
How about now?
Fanning winces but keeps her silence. Fincher grins maliciously. Hudgens, compact, formidable, respected, and his superior sees it and scowls.
Fincher.
Fincher tosses the remote to Rusted, another guard, who stows it in the pocket of her uniform.
Hey, you know who this chick is?
Yeah, and Abraham Lincoln was our 16th president. What the fuck do I care about either?
We see a number of other prisoners in a line in shackles. Guards, both male and female, various races, flanking them on either side, holding lethal-looking assault weapons. Note, the guards wear name tags on their uniforms. We float past the faces of prisoners we'll get to know soon. Thoughts held within their heads now, but past and future actions a wild unknown. Babyface, 20s, beautiful, youthful appearance, flattened effect, watchful eyes. Sheila, butch, female rageaholic. Billboard, 6'10", 350 pounds, covered in tattoos. Lester, irrepressible, hyper, some might say a real jerk. And one anomaly, Emily, 60s, a lean older woman who seems cut from a different cloth, radiating intelligence, decency, but shackled just like the rest. They round a bend and see the transport ship, its boarding hatch open, waiting for them. There's an opening in the ceiling above it, showing the blue sky and fleecy clouds of Earth. The prisoners don't like the sight of this. It's a one-way trip and they know it. Lester stands near Berrios, a brawny and cool-headed female guard.
Now I'll never get to see Des Moines. What's in Des Moines? How the fuck do I know?
Favoring Hudgens and Rusted. Rusted is a tech wired to interact with cyber surfaces. Various tattoos on her arms and fingernails serve as data screens when she calls them up. Rusted runs a hand by a grid on the wall. Instantly, her fingernails and a tattoo on her arm come alive with data. She scrutinizes it, typing by touching her fingernail screens rapidly to her thumb.
Ship's ready for us.
All right, get him in here.
The guards urge them forward. The prisoners shuffle up the ramp into the ship. Passing her, Lester calls to Rusted.
Another member of the fraternal order. I'm a tech too.
She spies the scrambler secured over his arm data tattoos.
Decommissioned.
I was a victim of circumstance.
She shakes her head and strides past him into the ship. He calls after her.
I still know the secret handshake.
Inside the ship, as the prisoners and guards enter, Fincher nods toward the waiting chairs.
How do you want them? Alphabetical, by height, or sex? Assuming we can tell what sex they are.
He looked at Sheila as he said that. Hudgens shoots him a quick busting my balls look and speaks loudly to the prisoners.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are the worst Earth has to offer. Now it's bidding you a fond farewell.
He nods to the guards who forcibly guide the prisoners to their seats.
We'll be conducting you to the halfway point at Terminus Station, where you'll be transported to Cerberon custody for the rest of the trip. The prison on Cerberus will be grouped together, men and women, so you can fuck each other or kill each other. But you're sure as shit not going anywhere.
Close on Emily, eyes wide and fearful, breath shallow. Pan over to Fanning beside her, a study in contrast, face a cipher, holding her own counsel. Flash, a black screen, the words appear, Fugitive Space. Flash, interior, Cerberon prison, close on floor surface, its patterning iridescent, strange and beautiful. Then bam, a running foot plunges down into frame. We hear shouts but can't yet make out the words. Angle to include Eddie, the runner, 30s, determined and desperate, in the t-shirt and pants that make up standard issue here, but which each prisoner decorates in his or her own distinctive way. Widened to show the corridor he's running down. There's something strange about it, alien and organic. Eventually, we'll come to learn that like everything designed by the Cerberons, it's literally alive, not conscious, but built entirely from organic tissue. There's the organic equivalent of alarms and flashing lights going on. And prisoners. Don't do it. Don't do it. Come back. Tendrils and other protrusions whip Snake out of the walls, trying to snare him. But wired on adrenaline and determination, he ducks, leaps, and avoids them. Nearby, enclosed interior prison yard, now we see who's doing all the shouting. From behind a transparent membrane, a group of similarly attired men and women, the prisoners, shout warnings. There are a variety of races and ages, from late teens to 70s. All are alarmed and horrified.
Oh, man.
Don't do this! Oh, but one. Alt watches silently, an intensity in his eyes. He wants Eddie to make it. Moving with Eddie, running for all he's worth, stumbling, gasping. He looks back and is alarmed to see a group of Cerberons coming after him en masse, 8 feet tall, roughly the shape of humans, but much more like jellyfish, multi-tentacled with translucent skin, dark blue and green and purple with lighter speckling patterns, bodies sheathed, breathers on the orifice they breathe through, and most horrifying of all, they're pursuing on all surfaces, bounding off floor, wall, and ceiling in a fluid, non-human rush. Eddie's drawing near the end of the corridor where the organic equivalent of an airlock door confronts him. The lead Cerberon reaches him, wielding an ornate baton we'll call a joystick. Its purpose is to inflict non-injury sustaining pain. It activates and strikes the runner, who cries out in excruciating pain, but it doesn't stop him. Against the agony of repeated blows, he manages to grab the Cerberon and fling him up against the wall beside the airlock door.
Oh, fuck! No!
The other Cerberons are almost upon him. He takes a tentacle of the momentarily stunned Cerberon and uses it to key a control beside the door. The door opens. The runner shoves the dazed Cerberon and his onrushing fellows, causing them to boxcar into each other in a heap. The runner slides into the airlock, which closes behind him. Alt, as the other prisoners groan in dismay, we see his look. In the airlock, lights and alien symbols ripple down the skin of the wall, indicating a countdown. We hear the hiss of pressure equalizing. The opposite airlock membranously opens to reveal open terrain on Alt. Exterior airlock, Eddie stumbles out, gasping, and collapses dead as the methane atmosphere roils around him. Pull back fast to reveal the Cerberon prison complex, with thousands of human prisoners under a dome, in the midst of a barren alien landscape, and then further back through methane clouds until we see the planet Cerberus, hanging in space, its 3 moons orbiting with vapor trails swirling down from them to the planetary surface. Interior Cerberon corridor. The Cerberon guards stand by the airlock, unreadable. Suddenly another of their kind presses through them to the foreground, larger and more magnificent than the others. We'll come to know him as Moonlight, so called because of his distinctive midnight blue skin with star-like spots of illumination. He keys the airlock, which opens. On prisoners favoring Alt, watching this, all but Alt appalled by what they've just seen. Exterior airlock, Moonlight emerges and approaches Eddie's dead body. He stands over it, contemplating it silently. Then he rears back a tentacle and plunges it into the base of Eddie's spine. It reemerges out the bottom of his neck and then spikes down into the base of his skull. A beat, then the corpse stirs and rises, clearly still dead. A beat, Moonlight works it like a puppet, staggering back into the airlock. Interior prison on the prisoners watching this, all but Alt revolted as Moonlight manipulates the corpse of Eddie back out the airlock into the corridor. With another tentacle, he keys a membrane on the corridor wall, which opens to a disposal chute. Seemingly effortlessly, he flips the corpse down the chute. The membrane shuts, and Eddie's just a memory. Sickened, the prisoners turn and depart deeper into the prison yard. Only Alt stands unmoving, face a mask. On Cerberons, Moonlight's body shimmers with elaborate light patterns. It's the way the Cerberons communicate with each other. In compliance, the others depart. Moonlight's alone in the corridor. A moment, then he glides up to Alt, who stands watching on the other side of the barrier. Something in their body language, how they relate to one another, tells us they're long accustomed to communicating in an unofficial standing. Moonlight flashes an elaborate pattern.
What do you want me to say? I got nothing to say about that.
Moonlight flashes a different pattern.
Yeah, I know he was a translator, so what?
More flashes.
No, Moonlight, no. There's others here who can read you. Take one of them.
More flashes.
All right, so I read you better. What's it gotten me? Give me one reason I should say yes. I'm sure shit won't get me laid.
More flashes. We see it hits Alt where he lives.
You'll be halfway home. Yeah, then right back here.
He hesitates, then nods agreement. Moonlight keys a control. The membrane separating them opens, leaving no barrier between them. Moonlight flashes.
Tell me about Earth.
Moonlight settles into the Cerberon equivalent of sitting. Alt saunters up to him, an old friend.
Again? Christ, we've done this a million times.
Moonlight flashes.
It never gets old. Yeah, maybe to you it doesn't. Come on. I thought you were warrior class, not tourist class.
Moonlight flashes more insistently. Alt puts up a hand.
Okay,
he sighs, hunkering beside him.
Earth, huh? Well, it's a beautiful world. I'll say that for it, despite everything they've done to fuck it up.
His gaze shifts inward, remembering. Moonlight listens, rapt.
Sky's this cool blue, like you, only lighter, with soft clouds that cover you like a soothing breath. Palm trees line the highway far as the eye can see. You and me, we're tooling down the PCH, and it's a bright, clear day. The sea stretching like a blanket that goes on forever. We pull over at Malibu, walk out to the fine white sand, dive into the surf. There's guys like you. They're jellyfish and octopi, only they don't live as long as you, so they never got to build spaceships or prisons or a civilization. Even so, it's not a bad life. Then maybe we bop on down to the Sea of Cortez.
He comes back to reality and looks over at moonlight sourly.
What's the use? We're neither of us ever gonna see it.
Moonlight flashes.
You help me see it anyway.
Balt nods, eyeing him. It's small comfort, but comfort nonetheless. Flash, interior Earth transport ship Day. The pilot and co-pilot sit up front running prep for ignition. Rows of institutional-looking seats with the prisoners we've seen still shackled, just settling into them. Guards stand flanking them, pacing, weapons ready.
Put your arms on the armrests.
They place their arms on the armrests. Metal cables slide over the prisoners' arms, holding them in place.
Stifle that shit.
What if I need a prisoner to scratch my nuts?
I'll call your mama to come scratch them for you.
Another ring whips around their necks, holding their heads in place.
Try anything, and the neck restraints will emit microwave radiation that'll fry your C3 vertebrae and surrounding soft tissue. Trust me, not a pretty sight.
Man, what the fuck are we gonna try?
Favoring Lester and Emily, seated beside each other, fanning Babyface and Sheila in the row ahead of them. Lester notices Emily sweating bullets.
Hey, librarian, who'd you kill?
I didn't kill anyone.
Oh, you sure as shit on the wrong bus.
Close on Fanning, restrained like the others but not bent out of shape by it. Instead, she's focusing on studying the pilot and co-pilot as they run through their routine. Fincher saunters by Lester.
Excuse me, what's the in-flight movie?
It's called The Loser Assholes Who Fuck Their Own Lives.
Oh, yeah, I saw that one.
Sheila looks around at her seatmates with an insolent grin. One of her front teeth is discolored as if it's dead at the root, giving her a vaguely repellent appearance.
You got a name, Babyface?
Oh,
That's a sweet one. How about you, Chatterbox?
Fanning.
Fanning. What kind of name is Fanning?
Fanning turns away from her, still intent on scrutinizing the pilot and co-pilot.
Where you been, sweet thing? Lady's a celebrity.
You're bound and determined to tell someone.
Fanning's determinedly ignoring them, intent on the controls the pilot and co-pilot are working.
Our gal here, why, she ain't just your garden variety piece of shit killer like you all. She's former military, UO pilot.
Fincher leans on Fanning's chair and ruffles her hair.
Tunisian campaign, she's working independent contractor, cleanup operation with other whirlybirds, and she just goes ape shit. Opens up on men, women, children, UN observers, dogs, parakeets, hell, even Americans.
Fincher sees Fanning's not listening. He grabs her head and roughly turns it to force Fanning to look into his eyes.
322 innocent souls sent to meet their maker. Would have been more if she hadn't run out of ammo.
Fincher runs a hand along Fanning's neck ring, nearing a button.
One push of a button, I make your head explode.
Fanning stares at him, but says nothing. The pilot and co-pilot finish their prep. The pilot turns and gives Hudgens a thumbs up. Hudgens nods.
Can that shit. Jump seats.
The other guards strap themselves into the jump seats. Lester cranes his neck against the restraints to speak in a hushed tone to Fanning in the row ahead.
Hey, Fanning. Sorry to disappoint you, but you're not the star attraction. You take a gag to your left. You see the white-haired dude?
She glances over and sees dead meat, an amazing, intense-looking individual staring straight ahead, disdainfully paying attention to no one, in restraints like the rest. His hair is gossamer white, like a short geyser coming off his head. One eye is a milky white cataract. A diagonal scar across his face and noose burns on his neck complete the picture, plus a robotic arm where electricity burnt the flesh one away. Other than that, he looks just like any other guy.
Name's H. Groenfeld. But he goes by Dead Meat. Last guy that tried to ice before the death penalty was scrapped. Yeah, mainly because they made a mess trying to kill him. Took a crack at it 3 times, if you can believe it. I mean, lethal, injection, juice, rope, everything. But that's not why he beat your claim to fame.
Fanning glances back at him questioningly.
He's the only man ever escaped Cerberus and got back to Earth.
How?
But he looks like he shares his fucking gene combination. Anyway, they ran him down. They hold his ass back here.
No, I was going back.
The thrusters engage, shuddering everyone in their seats. On Dead Meat, expressionless save the fury that always lives in his eyes. Exterior, Earth spaceport as the ship blasts off and speeds away from Earth. In the ship, Fanning and the others pressed hard to get into their seats. The pilot keys in the hyperdrive. The ship plunges into the trench of hyperdrive bound for Terminus Station. With a strange distortion of hyperspace, most of the prisoners don't look too happy, sick with the effects of hyperdrive. Man, I gotta take a shit.
Next gas station's 32 light years. Hold it till then.
Fanning's still watching the pilots intently. Sheila leans close to her, speaks low, conspiratorially.
I see how you watch them boys. You're a pilot, huh? You're smart. I'm smart too.
Finally, Fanning's eyes slide over to her.
They won't put you here.
I figured you chop off a guy's arms and legs, bury him in a hole, he'd stay put. It works 9 times out of 10.
Fanning gives a small smile that might be disgust.
Oh, hell. It's not the patch on your count, but then I didn't have plasma cannons. I'm just saying. When you make your move, I'll be right there for you.
Fanning says nothing, returns her gaze to the pilot. From behind them, Lester's been straining to hear what they're saying. Now he pipes up.
What you ladies talking about?
Only oily motherfuckers asking you to get their dicks cut off.
That's not a bad conversation to pass the time.
What's that smell?
Cerberon prison, day. The Cerberon ship docked at the prison transport bay. Like the prison and every other Cerberon device we'll see, it's entirely organic, alien, and cool in design. In the Cerberon ship, a transparent membrane separates the human oxygen atmosphere section of the ship from the Cerberon methane atmosphere section. The Cerberon pilots are situated in the latter section. There's 3 rows of seats clearly designed to accommodate humans, now empty. Alt and a contingent of Cerberon guards, including Moonlight, enter the ship. Unlike the prisoners we've seen on the human transport ship, Alt has no restraints. Moonlight flashes a pattern at Alt.
Yeah, I think I find my own seat.
Just then another human enters, unescorted, a military bearing in a hard, self-contained, watchful manner. This is Tarpinian. Alt's surprised. He thought he was the only human on this flight.
Who the fuck's that?
Moonlight flashes a response.
Special case. What do you mean special case?
Moonlight says nothing, glides to join the other guards in the methane section where they're securing themselves for launch. The Cerberon pilots ready their ship, running preparatory routines. From how they manipulate the controls with their tendrils, it's clear no human could work them, nor could they work human controls. Tarpinian approaches Alt.
Hey there. I'm Alt.
He extends a hand. Tarpinian ignores it, settles into a seat, secures himself.
Tarpinian.
Alt shrugs off the slight, takes a seat next to him.
So what, you a trustee or a translator?
Tarpinian says nothing.
I'm just trying to find out whether you get the veal cutlet or the vegetarian meal. Look, there's gonna be a long flight there and back to this shithole.
I'm going home.
No one goes home.
Tarpinian says nothing. They turn to look at the sound of a hatch opening. Through the transparent panel separating humans from Cerberons, 5 Cerberon guards are wrestling a very large Cerberon prisoner into the ship as he struggles wildly, tendrils flailing, trying to strike them. They hold him by poles attached to a ring around his neck and force him into a wall restraint, which grabs him and holds him tight. This is Slash, so named due to the horrendous slash running across his head and down his torso. His distinctive patterning also distinguishes him from other Cerberons. Alt and Tarpinian watch the struggle. Tarpinian tries not to betray his alarm at what he's seeing, but Alt reads it on his face.
Boy's a handful. Probably why it's just him in this shipment. Usually it's just 1 for 1, even trade.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Alt comprehends the insult and contempt, but doesn't rise to the bait.
Guess you and him are the only one-way tickets. He's going to prison and you're getting out.
The engines come to life. The Cerberon transport ship rises off the pad and surges into space. Its energy signature is distinctly different from the human transport ship, but it gets the job done. The flare of its energy trail fills frame as it passes us, serving as a wipe to interior human transport ship. Fanning's dozing. Suddenly, Fincher rams the butt of his assault rifle into the arm of her chair, jolting her awake.
Hey, Fanning, thought you'd like to see this.
He gestures towards the forward view screen, which shows Terminus Station in all its glory as the human ship approaches, an incredible, vast edifice, half of it built by humans and designed for them, the other half built and designed for and by the Cerberons. It's a startling contrast in styles, very different from each other, like 2 stations jammed together, which it truly is. Fanning eyes Terminus with disquiet as they draw near.
Gateway to hell.
In space, the human ship slows to dock with the station. Angle over to find the Cerberon transport ship arriving on the scene too, slowing to dock at the opposite end. The station's clamps lock on the human ship and it powers down. Inside the ship, the pilot and co-pilot switch off main engines. The guards climb from their jump seats and train weapons. The neck and arm rings withdraw, freeing the prisoners who still wear wrist restraints.
On your feet, ballerinas.
Fanning and the others rise stiffly, trying to work the kinks out. Fincher stalks up to Dead Meat, who's still sitting.
Hey, get the lead out.
He's about to strike him in the arm to get him moving, but one look from Dead Meat stops him in his tracks. Instead, he just nods gruffly. With dignity and subtle menace, Dead Meat rises from his seat. Interior Terminus Station docking bay, the shackled human prisoners emerge from the ship and move forward, escorted by their human guards. Hudgens stands by Rusted, who waves a hand by a wall. The tattoo screen on her arm comes to life with data.
Severons have docked with their cargo. They're on their way.
Hudgens nods. The pilot and co-pilot emerge. Fincher pulls a lighter from a pocket, gives a light to the pilot, who puffs on his cigarette.
Starboard thruster was a little hinky. I'll get the prep crew working on it.
Emily notes them as she moves forward.
How long is turnaround?
3 hours, 20.
You and Roberts kick back. Just got to deliver this shit, and then we'll swing around the rec room and watch the Steelers game.
Pilot nods and he and the co-pilot head off. Hudgens catches up with the prisoners and guards. Interior, Terminus Station, Cerberan Corridor. Alt, Tarpinian, Moonlight, and the other guards approach the handoff point. Alt falls back alongside Moonlight, eyeing Tarpinian.
Just don't figure how he rates.
Moonlight flashes.
Life isn't fair. Fuck you. Don't quote me to me, okay? Besides, you have no conception of what it means.
Human Section Corridor. Moving with the prisoners and guards, Fanning in the lead, Lester, Sheila, Babyface, and Emily nearby. A scattering of station workers attend to their tasks.
Cerberus has these 3 moons with a vapor trail. It's like a 3-headed dog. That's why it's called Cerberus. It's from the mythological thing. You ever read the Greek myths, man? I love that stuff when I was a kid. You know, Joseph Campbell.
Fuck Joseph Campbell and fuck you.
Jesus Christ.
The others follow Sheila's look and gape in awe and horror. Even Fanning looks impressed. Moonlight, sheathed and in breather, stands waiting for them, towering and fearsome. Dead Meat gazes at Moonlight with no surprise. It's old news to him. Ahead of our humans lie 2 corridors that form the handoff point from Cerberon to human jurisdiction and vice versa, for outgoing and returning members of both species. Each corridor has the atmosphere that the species going down the corridor can breathe. In other words, the human corridor has oxygen, the Cerberon has methane. Emergency airlocks are spaced every 100 feet or so. The human guards nudge the nervous human prisoners forward with the nose of their weapons towards the handoff point between the 2 jurisdictions.
Stop there.
The prisoners halt just before the handoff point.
See you in the next life, boys and girls.
Alt and Tarpinian step through from the other side, the Cerberons holding back. Fanning reacts in surprise seeing Tarpinian, tensing, looking daggers at him. But there's nothing she can do. The guards have their weapons trained on her. Tarpinian eyes Fanning, recognizing her, only a frosty contempt in his gaze. Alt saunters up to Hudgens.
You Hudgens?
Yeah, where's Eddie?
He couldn't make it.
Tarpinian steps in front of Alt, facing Hudgens.
I'm Tarpinian.
Yeah, we got word you'd be with us on the leg back. They didn't tell us shit all else. Don't suppose you will either.
Tarpinian looks at him coolly.
Don't skin off my nose. I punch a clock and cash my check and don't color outside the lines. Hang over there, I'll escort you to the rec room where you can chill till we light the bottle rocket.
Tarpinian nods and moves off. Fanning watches him go, murder in her eyes. Alt calls after Tarpinian.
You know, it's been a real pleasure flying with you.
Alt turns to the prisoners, scrutinizes them, pauses on Fanning for just a moment longer. She's striking.
My name's Alt. I'm a trustee. A prisoner like you. Cyberons brought me as a translator. They can communicate via computer, but thought you'd feel better with a human to help you show the ropes.
Mighty white of them.
A capo.
Excuse me?
Capo, like they had in the concentration camps.
It's nothing like that. 3 heads ain't no resort spa, but you could live there, as long as you do what you're told. Show of hands, how many of you are innocent?
This throws the convicts. They hesitate, then a few reluctantly raise their hands. Emily guardedly raises hers. Fanning's eyes flash. It's a hot-button issue, but she pointedly doesn't raise hers. Alt scans the raised hands and nods.
Yeah, well, maybe you are, and maybe you're not. Back home, they call it justice. Point is, we get all kinds here. So make it the best of the hand you've been dealt.
Fanning realizes he's staring at her. There's an edgy chemistry between them, and it pisses her off.
And what hand were you dealt?
Alt glares at her. It's his hot-button issue.
The one I chose myself.
Moonlight glides near them. The prisoners shrink back, but Alt is unfazed. Moonlight flashes at Alt.
Yeah, I got it.
Alt turns back to the prisoners, nods towards an alcove on the human side.
Wait in the holding area a minute. We gotta do their side of the handoff.
He guides them toward the alcove, the human guards making way. Emily is more agitated than the rest, her alarm growing. You can't yet tell why.
One more thing. You've probably been told the Cerberon guards are sheathed for your protection. Don't touch any part of their skin or you'll die within seconds. Understand?
Any other cheering news you got to report?
Moonlight flashes a signal toward the Cerberon guards at the mouth of the methane side. The Cerberon guards appear with Slash in the neck restraint, muscling him toward the handoff with the human guards. On the human side, Hudgens, Fincher, and the other guards look at Slash with disquiet. He's the biggest, meanest Cerberon they've ever seen. One of them, Sawyer, slips on full body protection to handle and escort him to the Earth transport ship.
Holy mother of God.
You ready, Sawyer?
He runs a check on a nasty-looking hand weapon that immobilizes Cerberons. It blinks and shows an energy pattern.
Ready as I'll ever be.
The Cerberon guards reach the handoff point on the other side of the glass. Sawyer steps into an airlock. The Cerberon guards attach a breather to Slash, then shove him into the airlock, releasing him from the neck brace. The airlock door closes behind him. In the airlock, Sawyer takes a deep breath to calm himself, peers up at Slash, who towers over him. He extends the weapon.
Know what this is, big boy?
After a hesitation, Slash gives his version of a nod.
That's right. Like slug with salt. So we're gonna just behave ourselves real nice and make beeline for our ship.
He keys to command and the opposite airlock door slides open into the oxygen corridor. Slash glides into it, Sawyer behind him, weapon trained as they move toward the other human guards.
Easy, nice and easy. Just gonna get you into the holding tank. No muss, no fuss.
Alcove, Fanning, Alt, Lester, and the other convicts. Lester's pacing, unable to stay still. He calls to Moonlight, who stands nearby.
Jeez Louise, how about you load us on the other ship already? You know, if I wanted this standing around doing nothing shit, I could have stayed in Detroit.
Moonlight makes a move toward Lester with the joystick. Lester raises a defensive hand.
It's a joke. I'm joking. You know what a joke is.
Moonlight relents, goes back to his position. Everyone's watching Sawyer move with Slash, human prisoners and guards alike. On Emily, Fincher's not far off, watching Slash, paying no attention to her. Suddenly, Emily makes her move, running full out and tackling Fincher, who goes down hard. Hudgens rushes towards them, but it's too late. Emily and Fincher are struggling over the assault weapon. Emily gets it and swings it in a big arc.
No!
She fires. Humans and Cerberons dive for cover, but she's not aiming at them. The transparent wall takes a full essay to fire and a big hole is punched through. Methane starts hissing in from the other side. Slash seizes the distraction to grab Sawyer's weapon and turn it on him, firing it upward from below his chin.
No!
His head liquefies and he falls dead. Fincher struggles to rise, but Emily cold cocks him with a weapon butt, then digs into his pocket, comes up with a lighter, flicks it to life and throws it right at the hole in the transparent wall. Alt sees this, knows what's coming. He throws himself atop the other prisoners, Fanning included.
Down!
The flung lighter reaches the hole in the wall, and the methane ignites with a terrific explosion. Humans and Cerberons, prisoners and guards are engulfed in flames. Screams. Others dive aside. Pieces of the blown-apart Cerberons strike human prisoners and guards alike. Instantly, they start writhing and dying horribly, fatally poisoned by the touch of the alien flesh. Roiling smoke, alarms, flashing lights, utter mayhem. Debris and twisted bits of bulkhead are everywhere. Extinguisher exhaust rains down from the ceiling at various points, but it isn't sufficient to fight back the flames. With the exception of Moonlight, whom we don't yet see, the surviving Cerberon guards hurriedly depart back along the methane corridor to their section of the station and safety. Before any of the surviving guards can do anything, Slash dives for a blast door, sliding shut. There's only enough room left for a creature without a skeleton to slip under it. The door clangs shut and Slash is gone. Amidst the smoke on the periphery, Tarpinian is unharmed but struggling to rise, shaken. Fanning claws out from under Alt and looks about wildly for Tarpinian. She spies him and takes off at a run, moving with speed and deliberation. Fanning rams into him with all she's got and loops her arm restraints from behind Tarpinian, choking him. There's a homicidal fury in Fanning's actions. It's clear Tarpinian only has seconds at most. But suddenly someone has come up behind Fanning, weapon right against her head.
Two choices. Stop or you die.
Fanning hesitates, then releases Tarpinian, who falls forward, gasping. On Babyface, alone in the smoke and confusion. Rusted, the guard we saw earlier stow the remote in her pocket, is badly injured. She's crawling near Babyface, burned, whimpering. Utterly calm, with no change in expression, Babyface takes a jagged piece of metal about the length and sharpness of a knife and cuts her throat, killing her. He roots around in the dead woman's pocket, finds the control device and keys it. Lights on his shackles flash, and the shackles fall away. He considers the controls a moment, expression mildly curious, then aims it outward, keying it again. On the other prisoners, as all their shackles flash and fall away to their surprise and delight. Babyface tosses the device aside into the flames like a toy that no longer interests him. And he slips through a nearby hole in the bulkhead and is gone. Another blast door is sliding down when a big piece of metal wreckage is flung into it, blocking it from closing. Billboard is flung it. Several other prisoners are huddled with him. Sheila comes up holding an assault weapon.
Go, go, go!
They start through. Sheila spies an injured station worker nearby, calls to Billboard.
Take him, we're gonna need him.
Billboard grabs the station worker and manhandles him through the doorway. Alt in the middle of the melee, smoke thick around him, folks running crazily about, mere silhouette. He's peering about, looking for something. And then he sees, off to the side, Moonlight's been blown up against a far wall, stunned by the impact. His breather's been hurled away from him and he's suffocating. Alt runs up and very carefully replaces it. Moonlight starts to recover.
Easy, 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 big guy.
Moonlight rises and moves off through the smoke and debris purposefully.
Hey, wait, you gotta take a minute.
Suddenly someone spins him around and he's confronted with the bloody specter of Emily, torn to shit and dying. She collapses in front of him. He bends towards her. Suddenly she grabs a sharp piece of metal debris and flails it, but she's not trying to harm Alt. Instead, she slashes her arm open. She reaches into the bloody gash and pulls out a data stick.
Got caught in a sweep before I could get word out, but they didn't find this.
She holds the data stick toward him, desperate.
Get it to Earth. People have to know.
She dies. Alt takes the data stick, realizing she gave her life for it, but he doesn't know why. Back on Sheila, she peers through the smoke, looking for Fanning. No sign of her in the flames, smoke, and chaos. Just then, she spies Tarpinian trying to edge away from her. She trains her assault weapon on him. He freezes.
Where do you think you're going, Peter Pan? Get over here.
She motions him through the blast door.
That's right, you're my squaw now.
A big shape rushes up behind her through the smoke. She spins to face it. It's
Whoa,
Moonlight.
There, beauty prize.
Standoffish, she holds a weapon on him and he holds his joystick.
What's it gonna be, man of war?
He drops the joystick.
I thought so. Come on.
On Alt, rising, peering through the smoke for Moonlight, suddenly he spies Sheila, motioning Moonlight through the opening with her weapon. Stealthily, Moonlight tries to slip a sheath off one of his tendrils, but Sheila has the muzzle right up against him.
You gonna fuck with me?
He relents.
I heard you boys were smart.
She nudges him forward. He departs through the opening, Sheila following. From the other side, Billboard shoves the obstruction away and the blast door starts sliding down. On Alt, seeing this,
Shit.
he takes a step to pursue, but...
Hold her right there.
Hudgens comes up to Alt, fanning before him, his assault weapon at her back. Alt stows the data stick in his clothes before Hudgens notices it, faces him.
She's dead.
See that, crazy bitch.
Hudgens swings the weapon towards Alt. Alt raises his hands.
Whoa, you'll get no grief from me.
Alt glances past him toward the blast door, closed now, Sheila and Moonlight gone. Hudgens keeps his weapon trained on Alt, fanning in front of him.
In the cell, now.
Listen, some of your wayward flock just made away with one of my boys.
What are your... Last I looked, Tarpinian was...
Not that fuck. Cerberon, one of the guards, Moonlight.
Moonlight. You got a nickname for him?
Yeah, he's a friend.
Friend. You and a Cerberon.
Look, I'm a cop. At least I used to be. We gotta get after them.
They've reached the holding cell. Hudgens gestures with the gun for Alt and Fanning to get in, shaking his head, unbelieving.
I heard a lot of jailbird bullshit.
Ah, for Christ's sake.
In one fluid move, he deftly shoves Hudgens' weapon aside with one hand while slugging him in the jaw with the other. Hudgens crumples as Alt pulls the weapon free and hefts it. He hisses, shaking his hurting hand, looks down dolefully at Hudgens out on the floor.
Now I'm gonna regret that.
Fanning's watched this without expression. Alt turns to her.
You coming or staying?
She considers, then
Coming.
he moves off, Fanning following. Near the gash in the wall, some feet off, smoke parts to reveal dead meat unseen, having watched them. He disappears back through the gash in the wall. On the blast door, the one Moonlight and the cons departed through, a blasted-out vent cover hangs slightly askew beside it. Alt pries out the cover, using a piece of metal debris as a lever. He shimmies into the vent, Fanning behind him. Human section, another corridor. Babyface strolls casually like a mildly interested tourist as alarms sound and lights flash. He's come to the gym, empty save for exercise equipment and screens in front of treadmills showing H.G. Wells' Things to Come. Idly, he moves along some lockers, trying them. They open, prove empty, all except one that reveals a station worker's jumpsuit in it. Sweaty workout clothes are tossed on a nearby bench. He doffs his clothes and puts on the coveralls. A second station worker emerges from the shower room in a towel, drying off his hair.
Hey there.
Hey.
Station worker draws closer.
What the fuck's with the alarms? I felt this huge vibration in the shower.
I feel like things like that in the shower too.
No, I mean...
Methane vented into the oxygen section and it kind of...
He says it with about as much emotion as I had oatmeal this morning.
Jesus Christ, are people hurt?
Doesn't.
Now the station worker is close enough to see that Babyface has put on his coveralls. He glances down to see the discarded prison uniform and realizes the score. Babyface is looking at him unblinking now.
You're shivering.
He nods towards his prison clothes.
Put them on. No, really.
Babyface advances on the terrified guy with a glint of a madman in his eyes. He raises the bloody shard of metal that serves as his blade.
I want you to.
Human section, handoff point near cell. The fires have died down now and it's mostly drifting smoke and scattered body parts. Hudgens is shakily getting to his feet and nursing his jaw as a small contingent of Barrios, Fincher, and 5 other guards appears. They're hefting whatever weapons they could scavenge. Fincher holds a weapon on Lester, who walks in front of him.
Talk to me.
Well, all things considered, I'd say this is far from the best day I've ever had.
Not you, shit-face, her.
Comlinks are down all over the station. The main communication hub ran straight through that overhead.
She gestures at the ceiling above where the explosion occurred.
That was one fuck of a design flaw. Prisoners?
15 dead. Managed to grab this one. The rest scattered.
She gestures widely, somewhere on the station.
All right, guys.
9 dead. 5 of them a jigsaw puzzle.
That leaves just us 8. How about the Cerberons?
Hard to tell. They were blown to pieces, and the pieces that hit our guys.
Yeah, I saw.
Well, I figure 4 of theirs dead, and the rest beat a quick retreat to their side.
What about the Cerberon prisoner?
Saw him slip through there when all hell was breaking loose.
See if you can run into ground. Take the pain compliance rig and be fucking careful. We don't need any more bad news.
The 3 nod and move off. Hudgens turns to Barrios, Fincher, and the other 2.
So what do we do?
Crack open some beers and get a few hookers. You secure the pilots, because you can be sure those cons are going to walk off this shithole as much as we do.
He turns to Lester.
The tech's dead. I need a new one.
I'm decommissioned.
Hudgens tears the scrambler off Lester's arm. Instantly static plays over his fingernails and data tattoos.
Jesus fuck.
Consider yourself recommissioned. Give me an uplink.
To who?
The fucking anyone.
Lester shows him the static.
Steady shit here.
He moves Lester a few feet to the left.
How about now?
You're fucking kidding me.
Hudgens grabs a spare rifle from one of the guards, says to them.
Rec room.
They move off, urging Lester forward
You
with
sing
them.
out as soon as you get anything.
Yeah, how about sweetening the deal with a benefits package?
Sweeten it by letting you keep breathing.
Christ, have you ever heard of a fucking carrot?
And they're gone. Human section, cargo hold, oxygen tanks, construction equipment, tools, etc. Tarpinian is thrown roughly into shot, hitting a wall. He glares at his captors.
You should listen to me.
Reveals Sheila, Billboard, and the other prisoners holding Moonlight and the station worker at gunpoint.
Shut the fuck up! You're a fucking hostage!
On vent cover, Alt's face appears behind it, observing. He retreats back the way he came. Inside the vent, Alt rejoins Fanning, weapon slung over his shoulder. Both speak softly so as not to be heard.
There's too many of them. We gotta wait for one moment.
Fanning nods, then.
I heard you say you were a cop.
You know, once upon a time.
What happened?
Let's just say I got on the wrong side of a really bad habit.
It wouldn't seem to be here for that.
Well, that lifestyle choice led me to some questionable associates, and it went down ugly.
Any civilians hurt?
Just a room full of guys where death was a considerable improvement to their personalities.
She nods, taking that in.
So what's your story? I noticed you didn't raise your hand when I asked if you were innocent.
I wouldn't have earned your respect if I did.
He smiles, conceding the point. Back in the cargo hold, Billboard sidles up to Sheila.
What's the plan?
We need to get off this fucking station and get back to Earth.
She looks around, thinking. She's out of her depth. Her eye falls on the station worker.
Hey, I'm just a plumber. I don't know shit.
She approaches Moonlight.
Then we stand on you.
It won't work.
Billboard slugs him in the face.
Ah, you got a hearing problem?
Tarpinian rubs his face and eyes Sheila angrily.
I said it
Talk!
won't.
Billboard moves to strike him again, but Sheila blocks him.
You don't have a translator or a tech. Besides which, unless they're criminals, the Cerberons never go against their own. This one's a guard. He died first.
Billboard comes up to Moonlight with his weapon.
We can arrange that.
I've got a better idea.
Why do you want to help us?
Better an accomplice than a hostage.
He motions to cargo rigging against a wall.
Strap him down and be certain it's secure.
The others look to Sheila. She considers then nods agreement. Note the rigging should be designed so it looks convincing to be able to secure him. They motion Moonlight towards the straps. He starts to resist. Tarpinian moves close to him.
Comply, and you're going to continue to have options.
Moonlight relents. The others strap him in.
Make sure it's tight. Good.
He turns to the station worker.
As for you, I'm betting you're a good deal more than you said.
No, honest,
Yeah, the name of the plumbers union?
That stops the station worker dead.
No?
Tarpinian spies a box cutter atop a crate. He grabs it up handily. He extends the blade. Everyone's eyeing him with a mixture of nervousness and curiosity. He approaches Moonlight with the blade.
Stay still. I won't hurt you.
Moonlight nods, or his equivalent of a nod. On the vent cover, Alt appears on the other side again, Fanning behind him. Tarpinian very carefully cuts open the sheath surrounding one of Moonlight's tendrils without touching Moonlight's poisonous skin. The sheath falls away, leaving Moonlight's tendril bare.
A miracle of evolution. On their home planet, no one fucks with them.
He motions to Billboard regarding the station worker.
His face, right here.
Billboard grabs the station worker by the neck and drags him toward Moonlight.
No, no, no!
On the vent cover, Alt tenses, but there's nothing he can do yet. Billboard forces the station worker's face near Moonlight's tendril. When scant inches away, Tarpinian stops him.
That's fine.
He brings his face close to the station worker, whose eyes are wide with terror.
We need master access codes to the armory and to where the pilots are.
I'll tell you.
Write it down.
He hands him a pad. The station worker hurriedly writes the info, hands it back to Tarpinian.
That's good.
He nods towards Billboard, who forces the station worker's face towards Moonlight's tendril.
No, I did what you said. I did.
His face touches the tendril. He gives a gurgling cry. Billboard releases him. He collapses to the floor and dies in a spectacularly horrible way. From behind the vent cover, Alt and Fanning watch in horror, helpless. Everyone but Tarpinian gapes at the body, appalled by what they've just witnessed. Tarpinian shows no emotion. He hands Sheila the pad.
Split into 2 groups. One to get the weapons, the other the pilots.
How do you know it's right?
I've learned to trust my instincts.
He extends his hand.
Your weapon, please.
For what?
To finish what we started.
You really think I'm stupid enough to trust you?
Tarpinian's eyes betray nothing. Sheila hands the weapon off to an ugly customer standing on the other side of her.
Do it once, we're out of here. And be careful not to get into that shit on you. And then catch up with us.
Sheila nods to the others and they depart, leaving Moonlight and ugly customer alone. Alt nods to Fanning, silently nudges the vent cover open. Ugly customer studies Moonlight, aiming his weapon, trying to gauge an angle where Moonlight won't splatter him. He judges he's got it, standing off angle, and raises his weapon to fire.
Drop your weapon.
Alt's behind him, weapon trained on his back, Fanning flanking him. Ugly customer spins, weapon ready. Alt fires, killing him.
Why the fuck doesn't anybody listen to me?
Another conflict. A straggler who heard the commotion runs into the room, weapon in hand. Before Alt can respond, Fanning whips into action, taking him down and incapacitating him. She comes up with his weapon. Alt looks at her, impressed. But there's no time for talk. Alt rushes to Moonlight, starts to release him. Moonlight starts flailing.
Whoa.
Alt has to duck to avoid being hit with the unsheathed tendril.
Moonlight, it's me.
Moonlight calms. Alt comes up to him, speaks gently.
It's okay. You're okay, big guy. We're gonna get you out of here.
Fanning studies Alt with dawning regard. It's been a long time since she's seen compassion. Corridor, Hudgens, Lester, Fincher, Berrios, and the other 2 guards moving at a good clip.
Rec room's just around this bend.
Hold it. Hold it, I got a signal.
He holds up his arm. A data tattoo resolves into a video screen showing the station's bridge with a station master in foreground and 2 technicians in the background running diagnostics. Hudgens speaks into the screen.
Hey there, it's Hudgens with the surviving guards. I need a sit rep.
Are we glad to hear from you?
The bridge. The station master speaks into a screen showing Hudgens' face. Most of the other screens show erratic patterns and breakup. The technicians labor over instruments.
Everything's cocked up. We're running diagnostics, but even they're fucked.
Unnoticed, Babyface strolls in station uniform. He strolls up to one of the technicians.
What seems to be the trouble?
Hey, buddy, you're hurt.
Hmm?
You're bleeding.
Babyface looks down. There's blood stain on one of the sleeves.
No, I'm fine. Really. I'm here to help.
Corridor, favoring Lester and Hudgens. Screams issue from behind the station master on Lester's arm screen. The station master spins at the sound and we just get a flash of Babyface stabbing him before the data tattoo screen goes dead.
Fuck!
Is there someplace you can put me that's safe for the time being? A cell, for instance?
Shut the fuck up. Come on.
He pulls past Lester toward the rec room, the others following. Human section, rec room. The pilot and co-pilot stalk by the secure door. The warning lights flash, but the alarm has been muted. They hold makeshift weapons and are hugely jumpy. Someone pounds on the door from the other side.
Who is it?
Berrios, I'm here with Hutchins. We've come to protect you.
The pilot and co-pilot shoot each other sighs of relief. The pilot keys in the security code, the door slides open, revealing Sheila, Billboard, and several other armed convicts who rush in and grab them.
You're a pair of real trusting motherfuckers, aren't you?
She comes up close, menacing.
How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
The pilot and co-pilot look utterly perplexed. Sheila brandishes her weapon.
Tell me!
Well, first you've got to jump 32 light years, then...
That's right, asshole, so let's get started.
She nudges him toward the door.
Stop right there.
They look to see Hudgens, Fincher, Berrios, and the other 2 guards have arrived in the corridor and stand facing them, weapons primed.
Let him go.
Sheila holds the pilot and co-pilot close, weapon trained on them.
We'll kill him.
You stuck on this shithole? I'll make you a counteroffer. Surrender and we'll hang your balls out to dry.
Bam! Hudgens and the other guards find themselves under fire. 2 are hit and killed.
Shit!
Lester's scared shitless. He takes off at a run, back the way he came. In the corridor, several other convicts have appeared, armed to the teeth with assault weapons and other munitions. Tarpinian brings up the rear. The guards fall back, ducking for cover, returning fire. In a nearby corridor, Babyface is strolling blissfully along, blood spattering his jumpsuit, knife held loosely. Suddenly from afar he hears weapons fire. He picks up his pace and comes to a T intersection from which he can observe the firefight between the guards and the convicts. Billboard is hit, half his face and shoulder vaporizing. He falls convulsing, his fingers spasming on the trigger, firing off a wide volley. The volley of fire sprays across Sheila, the pilot, and co-pilot. Sheila dives aside unharmed. The pilot and co-pilot are killed.
Fuck.
She fires wildly at the guards. In another corridor, Fanning, Arc, Alt, and Moonlight moving along. Distantly, they hear the gunfire.
Come on.
They pick up the pace. Corridor and Hudgens, Fincher, and Berrios. Under massive firepower from the convicts, their cover is being chewed to shit.
Fall back! Fall back!
Under his cover fire, he, Fincher, and Berrios fall back and get away. Intersecting corridor on Babyface, having observed it all unseen, he withdraws back the way he came. Another corridor on Lester, running blindly, terrified. He crashes into Moonlight, peers up at it.
Ah!
He falls back, white-faced, sees Moonlight is with Alt and Fanning.
Shit! What happened? What was all that gunfire?
Gee, you know, I don't know, maybe it was because every motherfucker on the fucking ship is trying to kill each other.
He sinks down on his haunches.
Ah, fuck me. Last meal I had on the outside, I got this fortune cookie. It said things are gonna look up.
He starts laughing hysterically.
The whole way, violence
Alt's
is no
about to
solution.
slug him. Alt spies the data tattoos on his arm.
You're a tech.
Yeah, well, yeah, lately that hasn't exactly been a lifestyle enhancement.
Alt pulls out the data stick.
Anything you do with this?
He hands it to Lester, who considers it.
It's all sticky. Don't tell me.
It's blood.
I asked you not to tell me.
Came out of the arm of that chick who brought the roof down.
The librarian?
Whatever's on there, she thought it was worth dying for.
Lester tries to give it back like a hot potato.
I can promise you that I won't agree.
Alt levels his weapon at
insist.
Lester.
Well, if you're gonna sweet talk me.
He lays it atop his arm. Instantly, it becomes liquid metal and molds itself to his tattoo. Data rapidly scrolls on his data tattoos. We read, top secret, eyes only, Earth-Cerberon prisoner exchange, initiation of phase 2, and then transport of entire human underclass. Data, charts, and maps scroll with blinding speed.
Jesus Christ.
Rec room, Sheila surveys the dead pilots. Tarpinian's utterly cool. She wheels on him, enraged.
What do you suggest now, smart guy? We're fucked.
There's an alternative.
Yeah, we sew parts together. There might be enough to make one guy.
She stalks over to Billboard's body and fires repeatedly into his corpse.
Every fucking man I've ever met has fucked me over.
I know of another pilot. She came up with you. And she's gonna want off this death trap just as much as we do.
She reflects on this, realizes who he means.
Bannon.
You met her. Good. Secure the ship. It's the high ground.
He sees she doesn't comprehend.
It's the only way any of them are gonna get back to Earth.
Well, now how can you be so sure she's gonna come knocking?
I know how she thinks.
Corridor, Alt, Fanning, Lester, and Moonlight on the move. Alt addresses Moonlight off Lester's still scrolling data screen. Note, they're approaching another passageway that terminates at an airlock connecting to the Cerberon section of the station.
Do you know about this?
Moonlight flashes.
No. But it's possible, right?
Moonlight flashes again.
They're your species. Yeah, well, that answers it all right.
What is this guy, a fucking magic 8-ball?
Lester overtakes him and draws him to a halt.
Hey, wait a minute. Who's to say it's real?
Of course it's real. You don't throw your life away for a lie.
Clearly you've been hanging out with a higher class of people than I'm used to.
Hey, Alt.
Alt turns and is slugged in the jaw. He goes flying and lands on his ass. Widened to reveal Hudgens, Fincher, and Berrios having arrived on the scene from an intersecting passage. Alt shakes his head, clearing it. Hudgens stands over him.
We're even. Obviously you were right.
He extends a hand to Alt.
No hard feelings?
Alt takes it, stands. Hudgens turns to face Moonlight.
Take it you're Moonlight.
Excuse me if I don't say I'm glad to see your sorry ass.
Last time I looked, you were running like a little girl.
Yeah, well, you know, I have this inexplicable impulse to stay alive.
Hey, Hudgens. I think I found out why a woman who brought the house down went apeshit.
Want to tell me about it?
No.
He takes Lester's data arm and extends it towards Hudgens.
I'll show you.
Human section, another corridor, Babyface strolling along when he hears a commotion around the bend. He approaches cautiously, peers ahead, and sees 3 human guards and Slash. They have him backed up against a bulkhead. He snaps his tendrils wildly like whips. 2 of the guards flank another one who holds a pain compliance net. The 2 guards level assault weapons at Slash as the 3 of them approach cautiously. The first guard says,
Watch it, don't let him touch you.
Calm the fuck down. There's nowhere you can go.
Slash whips a tendril at him. It narrowly misses him as he ducks under it.
Fuck!
Now, do it!
The second guard throws a net. It wraps around Slash and flashes with brilliant energy. Slash sinks down, snared.
Fucking A.
They're so intent on Slash that they don't notice Babyface sneaking up on them. He taps one of the guards on the shoulder. As the man turns in surprise, he slashes his throat. The guard gives a gurgling cry and collapses. Startled, the other guards wheel around, but Babyface is ready for them. In a fluid move, he stabs one up under the chin, then trips the other one and follows him down to the deck, stabbing him in the chest. All 3 are dead. Babyface rises, face calm and untroubled. He approaches Slash, who struggles in the net.
It's all right.
It's all right.
He blithely removes the net. Slash rises cautiously, eyeing him.
I won't hurt you. I only hurt people.
He looks around at the dead guards.
But I'm starting to run out of them.
Slash towers over him, regarding him curiously. Babyface is in awe of him. He runs a hand over Slash's scar, almost, but not quite touching him.
What would you like?
Slash cocks his head, considering. Then he moves to one of the dead guards, sticks a tendril in the pool of blood spreading out from him. He writes in blood on the wall, off.
Reasonable desire, all things considered. But don't think your own kind will be helpful. And as for our pilots, I just saw them killed.
Blindingly fast, Slash shoots out another tendril. At first it looks like he's aiming it at Babyface, but it passes narrowly by him, strikes another wall, and writes in a bloody, dripping smear, "Take me." Human section, corridor. Hutchins, Fincher, and Barrios stand near Lester, having watched the data, as Alt, Fanning, and Moonlight stand by. Alt and Fanning hold weapons, as do the three guards.
So what do you think?
That's bullshit. How would Earth want to ship off billions of people? And what the fuck would the Cerberons do with them anyway?
I don't know. Humans are sturdier, they've got harder skeletons, maybe it's a workforce.
I heard something about the jellyfish fighting wars all the time. Maybe they need cannon fodder.
Moonlight flashes.
What the fuck is with him? It's not Christmas.
He said it could be something you humans have planned and not yet informed us.
Oh, nice, yeah. Gets you guys off the hook, doesn't it? There's always some junker playing innocent.
Shut the fuck up. He says he doesn't know, he doesn't know.
Oh, right, yeah, he's got such an innocent face.
You know, whatever the case, we need their help when we lock down this station.
Moonlight suddenly grabs Lester's arm and starts using his fingers to type command.
Hey.
It's cool, he's she.
Yeah, maybe it's cool to you, but I'm freaking out.
Lester's screen tattoo shows only static. Moonlight drops Lester's arm, flashes to Alt.
They're not responding.
We make a house call.
He moves towards the Cerberon section, but Moonlight blocks him. Moonlight flashes. Hutchins tenses, taking it as a threat, but Alt steps between them, the peacemaker.
It's not safe for you, the others might kill you.
Might kill us.
Moonlight flashes.
They might not differentiate between prisoners and guards, especially considering your actions brought about this.
This what?
I'm trying to think of the appropriate phrase. Fuck up.
That's appropriate.
Moonlight flashes.
Better I go alone and update them, including the new information.
What are we supposed to do all this time?
Moonlight flashes. Alt starts to translate, but Hutchins stops him.
I can guess. Don't fuck up anything else. All right, go to it.
Moonlight nods and heads off. Alt lopes after him.
Hey, try not to do anything stupid.
Moonlight flashes.
Yeah, I know. It cuts both ways.
He pats Moonlight on his sheathed back.
See you soon.
Moonlight nods and departs. Alt turns back to see everyone's been watching him.
So what? You and him hang out at jellyfish singles bars?
You wouldn't understand.
Damn straight I wouldn't. So just what do we do now?
You two reconnoiter. Try to find what the fuck happened to those guys I sent to run down the Cerberon prisoner and see where the rest of the cons hold up.
Gonna make us earn that paycheck, huh, boss?
Figure we're all on triple time here.
Barrios nods to Fincher. They start off. Hutchins calls after them.
Keep a low profile. Do not engage.
You really think you gotta tell us that?
He gives her a grim smile in return and turns back to Alt, Fanning, and Lester.
How about us?
Cool your jets and don't forget your prisoners. You give a fuck how much Boy Scout shit you do.
What about the data?
What about it?
Well, we can't just let them sweep through every ghetto on Earth and clear them out. We got a word for that.
Hutchins looks off, burning. He doesn't want to believe it, but inside he does.
Fincher, Barrios.
They come back on the run.
What is it, boss?
He nods towards Lester's data screen tattoo.
What do you think we should do about that?
The two are silent a moment, pondering. It's heavy shit.
I don't know, Art. It's your call.
Fuck it is, we do what we're told.
That's not anything we have to decide right now. Get on with it.
They nod and head off. Fincher gets off a parting shot at Fanning.
See you later, baby killer.
Fanning's eyes flash, which he covers quickly. Barrios and Fincher depart. All studying Hutchins, who glares at him.
I like your eyes on me.
I think there's going to come a time you'll have to decide what side you're on.
Assuming we survive this.
I'm an optimist. I keep my eyes open.
A threat, implied, not overt. They lock eyes a moment, then Hutchins turns to Lester.
I saw a galley over there. Maybe we can scare up a meal.
His eyes return to Alt and include Fanning.
Want a job? Keep alert. Come on.
You know, I could really go for a tuna fish and pumpkin.
Alt and Fanning are alone. He studies her, but she says something.
What do you mean by that baby killer crap? Come on. I showed you mine. Wrong side of a bad habit?
Oh, yeah.
Or I'll give you another one. Ask me why I'm called Alt. I mean, come on. It's not a name you come across every day.
She eyes him. Go on.
You know how the old computers used to say Alt-Delete? My mom was just a kid. Didn't want to have me, but her folks made her go through with it, so I guess it was kind of a fuck you to them and me.
You've had all kinds of great luck, haven't you?
Yeah. Your turn.
She hesitates then.
I was 101st Airborne till it got privatized. Then it was a whole new thing. Tunisian campaign, place called Karash Shuban.
Her expression grows distant, back in the memory.
I came in at altitude, dropped down to low level. Everything's dust in the air. Visibility for shit. Then on the ground I see our guys, utterly berserk, shooting anything that moves. So I positioned my gunship between the civvies and them. Trained my 188s and tell those boys to back off. I put the fear of God in them. I saved a few.
But then you didn't.
No. But the suits at the top figured they could kill two birds with one stone. Get rid of a witness, and pin the blame. And who's going to say otherwise? And he'd stand up for me.
And Tarpinian?
Down on the ground, following orders. And giving them.
And that's why you jumped him when you spotted him.
Stupid.
So what's he doing here?
I don't know. But you can be sure it was a promotion.
Inside the human transport ship, Sheila's antsy, cradling her weapon, pacing like a caged tiger. The other armed prisoners cool their heels nearby. Tarpinian's cool as a cucumber, playing with the ship's communication control.
What the fuck are you doing?
Confirming a suspicion. The Cerberons aren't responding to a hail, and the rest of the station's communications are down.
I don't understand how you can just sit there and do nothing.
Sometimes nothing is the best strategy. You reserve your strength while your adversaries beat themselves to death against the glass.
Terminus station, outside the rec room, dead prisoners and guards, blood everywhere. Babyface appears, Slash gliding alongside him. They survey the carnage.
We're such an untidy species. Nothing like you.
He leads him into the rec room and up to the dead pilot and co-pilot.
That's the pilot and the co-pilot. But I really don't see what use they could possibly...
Slash rears up and shoots a tendril into the back of the dead pilot's neck. Babyface watches in amazement as the corpse stirs and rises to its feet, Slash operating it like a puppet. The dead pilot stumbles out of the rec room and heads down the corridor. Babyface stares after it, thunderstruck.
Holy cow.
Then he catches himself and runs after it to keep up. Human section, galley. Hudgens, Alt, Fanning, and Lester are chowing down on stuffed cads from the galley.
You know, this isn't bad with mustard.
Nice. We're busting our hump and you're having a picnic.
Widen to reveal Barrios and Fincher arriving.
Keep bitching, you can pull up a chair.
Fincher and Barrios settle in, grab some food.
So what'd you find?
Rest of our boys are dead. No sign of the jellyfish prisoner. Figured he was too much for him.
Jesus. The rest?
Hold up in the ship onto the friggin' T.
Going nowhere.
Alt hears a sound and looks to see 3 Cerberon guards sliding out of the walls from impossibly thin slits. And what's more, they're not sheathed.
They're coming through the walls.
Our guys grab for their guns, back away, but the Cerberons are incredibly fast and rush at them. Hudgens fires at one, but it goes wide and his gun is batted away. The Cerberon tries to whip its tendril at Hudgens, but Barrios flings a table at it, knocking it back. Fincher's gun is smashed by one of the Cerberons. Alt blasts the Cerberon, killing it, and pulls Fincher back toward the door. Fanning blasts a Cerberon trying to sting Lester, wings the creature, which pinwheels back. She and Lester dart out of the room. The others are throwing chairs, whatever's at hand, at the Cerberons, trying frantically to get out of the room. Alt, Fanning, Lester, Hudgens, Barrios, and Fincher stagger out into the corridor and stop dead as they see 3 more Cerberon guards coming out through the airlock. Our guys realize they're surrounded. Alt tries to raise his gun, but one of the Cerberons closes on him, whipping at him with its tendrils. Alt has to use his weapon to block the tendril so he won't be touched. He doesn't have a chance to fire it. Another of the Cerberons wraps a tendril around Barrios' weapon and yanks it away. It goes skidding along the floor. Another bats away Fanning's weapon. She has to duck to avoid being stung. Alt's still struggling with his opponent as the Cerberons approach the other humans menacingly. Our guys are cornered with no way out. Alt and the Cerberon struggle over the gun. The Cerberon pulls it free and hurls it aside. Alt falls back, but there's a wall behind him and nowhere to go. The Cerberon rears up to its full height, its tendrils pulling back to strike, when abruptly something gleaming bursts out of its chest. Stunned, the creature looks down dumbly at the object, which we now see as a metallic robot arm. The Cerberon crumples to the floor, dead, revealing dead meat standing behind him, having thrust his robot arm clear through the creature. The other Cerberons stare at this in amazement, which gives Fanning just enough time to dive for her weapon and start blasting at them. Alt and Hudgens seize the opportunity to grab the other fallen weapons and open fire, killing the remaining Cerberons. A moment of silence. The dust clears, revealing Alt, Fanning, Hudgens, Lester, Barrios, and Fincher standing together, surrounded by dead Cerberons. Dead Meat steps up to them, surveying the carnage. He wears a pack. We'll soon learn what it contains.
They weren't sheathed. They came to kill you.
Oh shit, Sherlock. Looks like your pal double-crossed us.
Alt won't believe it. Fanning draws near Dead Meat.
Why'd you help us? Not that I'm complaining, of course.
Dead Meat considers, face like carved stone, but there's a black humor in his eyes.
Heard you talking about the secret plan. I'm from Oakland. I'd like it to be there when I get back.
Fanning nods. Alt notices one of the seemingly dead Cerberons moving, rising its head up off the ground.
Watch it!
The Cerberon gives a strange howling cry. On Cerberon corridor, the howling cry echoes down the corridor. The human section corridor. As the howling cry continues, Slash is manipulating the dead pilot down the corridor, Babyface beside him. They look up at the sound. Interior human transport ship. The howling call continues. All but Tarpinian react with alarm.
What the hell is that?
Human corridor on Alt, Fanning, and the others. The howling cry stops and the Cerberon's head drops back down to the deck. It's dead. The humans look at each other in consternation. Then they hear an offstage shuddering. Alt is the first to see it.
Jesus.
Like kudzu vines come alive, the organic walls of the Cerberon corridor are surging forward. They burst through the far wall of the airlock and rush toward the opposite side. The Cerberon walls breach the near airlock door and surge towards Alt and the others.
Fall back! Fall back!
They take off at a run the opposite way. They reach a hatch and dive through. On the other side of the hatch, Hudgens keys the blast door to slide down. From the other side, the Cerberon organic matter pounds on the door. It starts to dent. It's only minutes before it too is breached.
Keep moving!
The pounding and tearing sounds echo behind them as though they're being pursued, which they are. They hurry on, talking as they move, and sealing hatches behind them as they go to slow its progress.
What the fuck's happening?
You must have told them something that got them really pissed off.
We let them know we had secret plans about shipping Earth's poor people to Cyberon.
That would do it, all right.
You know what that was all about back there?
Everything they build's organic, alive, but no mind. For months I hid on this station, got to know their ways. They've just ramped up its nutrient level, so it's growing out of control. It'll rip apart the station.
Christ, that'll kill everybody, including them.
No one gets out to tell.
Alt and Fanning are chilled. Human section, the Cerberon matter advancing like deadly creepers, tearing apart everything it reaches. Note, from now on, wherever we are on the station, we'll hear the sound of its destructive, growing approach. The corridor, on Alt, Fanning, Hudgens, and the others. Lester studying ship schematics on his arm tattoo data screen.
Somehow we've got to evacuate.
I think I just did. It's a choke.
He points to his data screen.
I've just plotted the organic Cerberon shit's rate of growth, given what we saw.
You've plotted it?
Yeah, I'm a fucking math genius. You can be that and a social misfit, too. Anyway, I figure it'll hit the core in about 22 minutes, then there's going to be an explosion that'll rip us about, I don't know, a zillion new assholes.
You gotta get control of this ship.
The frontal assault won't work. It'll destroy the ship and then everyone's fucked. You have to convince Darpinian and the others to surrender in order for you to pilot everyone away.
He won't agree.
He'll have to. It's a better option than dying.
Can't trust him. I know it.
Try anyway.
She weighs it, then
No.
Alt's eyes flash with anger, but he controls himself.
Give us a minute.
He leads her away by the arm so they're out of earshot.
Unless we get onto that ship and blast the fuck out of here, no one warns anyone back home and the bad guys win. You want that?
They'll win anyway. They always win.
So what are you saying? We just die here?
It's better than running our life on Cerberus.
She moves close, puts a hand on his arm.
Alt, it's a stacked deck. It always has been.
So you just want to retire from the game, huh? No. You play anyway.
He looks away, but then turns back to her angrily.
Look, I was a dirty cop, you understand? I was an asshole. Fucked up. But I stopped, and I looked around. And when I didn't like what I saw, I did something about it.
He's raised his voice. In the distance, the others are listening. He doesn't care.
Look, there was no right choice, just a better one. And it landed me here, which is exactly where I deserve to be because I shot my brother officers, those lethal fucks, with premeditation. But I can sleep nights knowing there's a family who'd be dead right now if not for what I did. And 3 guys underground who did.
He releases her, but his gaze bores into her.
You tell me you got a rotten deal? Join the fucking human race. there's anything I've learned, it's that you can't decide what happens to you in this life. You sure as shit can decide who you're gonna be.
He leaves her, strides back to the others, and addresses Dead Meat.
You said that Cerberon shit was alive? That mean we can kill it?
That's a tall order.
I didn't ask that.
There's a nerve center where it gets nutrients. You destroy that, the rest dies.
The fuck do you do that?
There's oxygen tanks in the cargo hold. We haul them there, ignite it, methane explodes.
Like the accident, only this time we do it.
Can you take us to the nerve center?
It'll be fiercely defended.
Which is why I'll be going, maybe.
They turn to see Fanning has joined them, Alt's heartened.
Okay then. So, who does what?
Fincher, Barrios with her. Looks like I'm your dance partner.
What about him?
Fuck, I don't want to do either.
It'd be good if the first team that succeeded could hail the other. We've only got one tech.
Dead Meat rummages in his pack and removes rusted, severed arm with its tech data tattoos.
This'll work for a time.
Fuck, man, what is your problem?
No, she wasn't using it.
Alt takes Fanning aside.
Look, whatever happens to the rest of us, you make sure you get back. You survive.
He presses something into her hand. She looks down. It's the data stick.
Make it count.
He starts to take a step away, reconsiders, comes back and kisses her. They consider each other, weighing the meaning of that, and then he's gone. Terminus Station, docking bay. The ship stands waiting, its hatch open. We can see Sheila standing just inside, weapon at the ready. Barrios and Fincher, just back of her, peer from around a corner of the ship, then dart back into an alcove, where Fanning and Lester wait.
You're there, all right. You hang back here, and you're our trump card.
She checks the charge in her weapon.
If everything's copacetic, we'll come back and give you the high sign. Come on.
They advance, Fincher nervously. Barrios calls back to him over her shoulder, nodding at his gun.
And don't be too trigger happy with that thing, especially with me in front of you.
They're gone. Fanning sighs, looks at Lester. He raises his data screen on.
Want to play a video game?
Cargo hold, repair and construction equipment, etc. Alt, Dead Meat, and Hudgens have donned environmental suits. Breathers loose at their necks, not yet in use. Hudgens and Alt have their weapons over their shoulders. Dead Meat his pack. Dead Meat and Alt are securing a number of oxygen tanks to a metal cart with straps. Hudgens is rigging a small canister.
There, that should do it.
He shows it to the others as he rigs it on the oxygen tanks.
Get confused in this oxygen canister. When it burns through, it'll set off the tanks. Just don't light it till you're ready to run like a motherfucker.
They put on their breathers.
Remember, the organic matter is like any non-thinking organism. It'll respond when attacked, but not otherwise, so don't damage it.
We'll just blow the fuck out of it.
Alt looks to the others who nod ready. He swings open the hatch and they step through, pushing the heavy tank-laden cart into what previously was a human corridor, only now it's been taken over by Cerberon organic matter, so every human device is twisted and shattered. The methane atmosphere has corrupted the breathing space and the walls pulse with life. Note, all Cerberon's spaces are noticeably more dimly lit with a muted green, magenta, or dark blue palette. Alt, Hudgens, and Dead Meat push the cart, struggling. They move cautiously down the corridor, disappearing into the swirling alien atmosphere. Docking bay, alcove, Fanning and Lester waiting, tense.
Come in. Fanning, do you read me?
Hey, we're getting a call.
He lifts his arm to show Fincher's face on his data screen.
Fincher?
Yeah, the ship has a working comm channel.
What's the situation?
Hudgens called it. Live to fight another day. They surrendered their weapons. You can come on in.
He starts off. Fanning's got a bad vibe, moves to stop him.
Lester!
But suddenly there's a gun at the back of her neck.
That's right. A familiar feeling. Welcome home, Captain.
Inside the ship, Fincher stands waiting as Lester enters. Instantly, convicts surround him, weapons leveled. Lester looks over to see that Barrios is secured on one of the chairs, a convict holding a hand over her mouth as she struggles.
Fincher, you pussy.
Couldn't do a thing, man. They got us.
Tarpinian enters, holding Fanning at gunpoint.
Yeah, I got you too.
They take the hand off Barrios' mouth. She's
I
furious.
told them they'd have to kill me first.
Tarpinian raises a hand.
Let's not everyone quarrel. We're working together again, Captain.
We never worked together.
Oh, ooh, that's right. I followed orders while you disobeyed them. Well, here's a second chance.
He glances at Sheila as he hefts his weapon.
I told you it'd be a good idea to give me a rifle.
He strolls over to Fincher.
We had quite an interesting conversation. I know the Cerberons are going to destroy the station. That's why they wouldn't take my call. Even though we've been working together most amicably.
Working to? You're not a con?
No, I was sent up here to prepare a few things.
Like shipping out all the poor folks. Why, Tarpinian? Why do that?
Their space-to-asset ratio is too low.
You mean they take up too much space for how much they earn?
Yes, that's right. With artificial people as a reliable workforce, there's a problem with human obsolescence.
With all this shit going down, maybe they'll be changing plans.
This little detour is just a bump in the road, though I must say the Cerberons do tend toward a scorched earth policy.
He rejoins Sheila and the other cons, facing Fanning.
Well, I tend to fit into whatever group I'm with.
And I can promise you, he'll kill you the moment it's to his advantage.
He strikes her with a rifle butt. She goes down.
Impulse control has always been your problem. Put her into the pilot's seat.
Terminus station, Cerberon corridor. All Deadmeat and Hudgens, all wearing breathers now, push the cart through the creepy, dangerous corridor.
Jesus, this looks just like the last 5 corridors. How the fuck will we know we're there?
They round a bend and stand facing a fucking amazing sight. The nutrient chamber. A vast nutrient sac pulses with liquid and energy unlike anything we've ever seen. Alien and beautiful and strange, stretching to a far, high ceiling. Glowing, twinkling arteries network out from the sac to every wall, sending out a flow of life to every bit of organic matter the Cerberons have created here on the station. Alt, Hudgens, and Deadmeat peer up in amazement.
We're there.
They grunt as they struggle the cart forward toward the sac.
So the drill here is we blow that son of a bitch without incinerating ourselves.
I can get behind that. Tell us where to put it to do the most damage.
You think I've done this before?
Alt grants the point, eyes the sac.
All right. Secure it there.
They shove it up against the sac, breathing hard. Alt lights the fuse, looks to the others.
Everybody still alive? That's encouraging.
Get the fuck out of here.
Alt nods and they turn back the way they came and react. A contingent of unsheathed Cerberons are surging into the chamber and rushing blindingly fast towards them. Alt fires at them, striking one, but then they're upon him, batting the gun aside. The Cerberon shoots out a tendril, striking the fuse canister on the cart and crushing it, extinguishing it. Alt slugs the Cerberon, sending it crashing back into the wall. Deadmeat is under attack by 2 Cerberons. He uses his robotic arm to block them, hurl them back. On Hudgens, the Cerberons surge over him, smashing his weapon. They try to strike at the exposed skin above the breather. He's desperate to avoid their touch. Alt dives into the group, scattering them. He kicks at one and it goes flying. Deadmeat dives for Alt's weapons, as does a Cerberon. They grapple over it. The Cerberon shoots out a tendril, severing the strap on the cart. The oxygen tanks roll off the cart, clattering on the floor. Before our guys can do anything, a second Cerberon keys a membrane open, which leads to a chute. The first Cerberon shoves the tank through the opening. They disappear down the chute. The membrane iris is shut.
Shit!
On Deadmeat, his robot arm crushes the Cerberon's neck and it collapses. Deadmeat comes up with Alt's weapon. On Alt, struggling with several Cerberons. Hudgens pulls the Cerberons off Alt, shoves them back the way they came.
Go!
Alt, Deadmeat, and Hudgens take off at a run. The Cerberons giving chase. Deadmeat spins and fires at them. One is hit, the others keep coming. One strikes Deadmeat's weapon as he fires. The shot goes wide, striking the organic Cerberon wall, which screams and comes alive with defensive tendrils. Flailing, they blindingly reach out and grab Hudgens, pulling him back toward the wall, while other tendrils move to cover the nutrient chamber, shielding them from any fire.
Down!
It's swallowing Hudgens alive. Alt dives towards Hudgens, tries to pull him free, but it's too strong.
Get off me! Get off me!
The Cerberon bats aside Deadmeat's weapon. The Cerberons are looming towards him as he falls back, desperately diving for the fallen weapon. Suddenly, a figure even larger than them looms up behind them in the gloom. It grabs them fiercely, tearing them apart, killing them as it surges forward. Then it races towards where Hudgens is struggling. Deadmeat has the weapon now. He spins and aims at the figure as it rushes for Hudgens. Alt steps in front of him.
No, don't shoot him!
And now at last we see that the looming figure is Moonlight. Having arrived just in time, she uses the sharp tip of a tendril to cut the organic matter around Hudgens and free him. Hudgens falls free, gasping. Deadmeat and Alt pull him clear. Alt approaches Moonlight, who now we see is ripped to shit, many scars and tears in his hide. Alt smiles in gratitude, puts a hand on Moonlight's sheathed shoulder.
You look like shit, Moonlight.
Moonlight flashes.
We should see the other guy. Yeah, right.
Hudgens approaches shakily, Deadmeat supporting him.
What took you so long?
Moonlight flashes.
They didn't like it when I told them you're new, so I had to fight my way back.
Alt nods, eyes Hudgens meaningfully.
He knows what friends are for.
Hudgens approaches Moonlight and peers up at him.
Thank you.
Moonlight flashes.
Blow me. Nah, he didn't say that. I did.
Alt looks grimly back toward the nutrient chamber.
Though I gotta say it would have helped if he showed up a minute or two sooner.
The oxygen canisters went down a chute.
Moonlight flashes.
Destroyed. Yeah, so much for that.
So now what?
We head back to the ship and hope Fanning's had better luck.
In the human transport ship, Fanning comes around, finds she's secured in the pilot seat. She looks around to see Tarpinian nearby, flanked by Sheila and the other convicts, all armed.
Hale and hearty, I trust? I've always prided myself on having a precise touch with injury.
Yeah, I saw how precise your touch was.
That's not the subject at hand, I'm glad to say. What we have here is a win-win situation.
He gestures at the passenger compartment. Fanning looks to see Lester and Barrios secured by arm and neck rings to the passenger seats.
You pilot us back to Earth, and we're all going to celebrate your skills.
There were some others on the station that
That's not a concern right now.
we better make it your concern.
No, I don't think I will. You see, I know how your wiring works.
He's
I've
strolling
seen-
by the hostages, his finger playing near the neck ring buttons.
You can't stand to see the innocent suffer, even if they are not so innocent.
Finally, he comes to Barrios, who's struggling to contain her fear. She glares at Tarpinian.
Fuck you.
Tarpinian pushes the button, which activates the microwave feature. Barrios' head explodes. The others look away in disgust and horror.
Christ, Tarpinian.
Be quiet, Sheila. There's one left. Do I really have to push it before you do what we both know you will eventually do?
All right, goddammit.
He keys a control and the door to the ship slides shut. Tarpinian smiles.
There's no surprise to you at all.
Fanning starts running prep sequences on the controls. The engines stir.
Strap yourselves in, jump seats only.
Fanning's continuing the prep sequence. She hesitates. Powers down.
Now what?
There's like 3 other humans on this station. One's Hudgens, the guard who stopped from killing you.
Tarpinian's listening. Fanning sees he remembers him.
Return the favor.
Tarpinian locks eyes with Fanning. We're not sure what he's going to do. Then he moves back toward Lester, extending a hand to push his neck button. Lester's sweating bullets.
I've never been good with favors.
He's about to push Lester's button, literally, when there's a knock at the door. Everyone's surprised.
Perhaps that's him.
He nods towards Sheila, who goes to the door with her weapon. The door slides open, revealing the hideous, dead face of the pilot. Sheila steps back with a cry. Tendrils whip out from behind the dead pilot, stinging her. The dead pilot staggers in, revealing Slash in back of him, controlling him. Babyface steps in behind him, face tranquil despite, or maybe because of, the mayhem. Sheila collapses, dying horribly. The convicts are strapped in their jump seats, unable to use their weapons. They struggle to unbuckle themselves so they can fire at Slash. Chaos and panic. Slash attacking the convicts as they try to free themselves and fire at him, whipping his tendrils at him. Tarpinian narrowly ducks the tendril strike, hits the deck, playing dead. Slash throws the dead pilot's body at one convict to free his control tendril and use that to kill the convict. Babyface calmly slashes and kills what attacker Slash neglects. Seizing her moment of opportunity, Fanning unbuckles herself and runs to Lester, activating the release control on his chair. Trapped in his chair, Fincher's eyes plead with her. Fanning relents, releases him.
Out, out!
Fanning, Lester, and Fincher dive out the door as Slash and Babyface finish off the rest of the convicts, with the exception of Tarpinian. Slash plunges his tendril back into the dead pilot's neck, reanimating him. He settles him into the pilot's seat, continues the launch sequence. Babyface settles into the co-pilot's seat. Outside the ship, docking bay, Fanning's on the move, shepherding Lester and Fincher out of the docking bay into the safety of the corridor. She glances back to see inside the ship, Slash via the dead pilot expertly firing up the engines. Babyface looks back a moment at Fanning with that same unreadable expression. Outside the ship docking bay, the ship's door starts to slide shut. Fanning turns away and hurries towards the others. Close on the door, as at the very last, Tarpinian dives through just as it closes, gasping. Fanning hasn't seen him. Inside the ship, Slash launches the ship. Through the forward screen, we see it leave the station and move into space. Corridor on Alt, Hudgens, Dead Meat, and Moonlight running full out of reach of the ship through the Cerberon Matter fucked up corridors. Hudgens spies something ahead.
Holy shit.
Angle to show a viewport through which we see the transport ship moving into space.
Train's leaving the station without us.
Alt watches it go with a myriad emotions playing over his face, including relief that Fanning got away. In the ship, Slash at the controls via the dead pilot at the controls.
I think I'm gonna like your world.
Exterior Terminus Station. From the Cerberon side of the station, we see an organic proton cannon emerge and fire at the departing human transport ship, which explodes in a huge fireball. Interior Terminus Station Human Section corridor. Watching the explosion, everyone's floored.
No!
The light from the explosion plays on Alt's face as it dies down. It's like a knife to his heart.
Come in. Alt, come in.
Wait. What's that?
Can you hear us?
They look around in consternation and realize it's coming from Dead Meat's pack. Alt hurriedly reaches in and comes up with rusted, severed arm. Fanning's face shows on the tattooed data screen.
Yes, yes, we read you.
We're okay. We got out okay.
Alt looks to the others and sees his relief mirrored there. Cargo hold, minutes later. Fanning, Lester, and Fincher have reunited with Alt, Hudgens, Dead Meat, and Moonlight. Cerberon's organic matter is encroached on the room, but it's still mostly intact.
Are there any escape pods, service shuttles, anything that can get us off the station?
Nothing.
Moonlight flashes.
Our ship is intact. You know how to fly it.
Moonlight flashes.
No, but the last I checked, our pilots were still alive.
Let's hope they're not eating fatty foods. I'm guessing we got maybe 15 minutes.
What's the plan?
How are we for weapons?
Hudgens holds up his assault rifle.
This is it.
Wonderful.
Shut the fuck up. You give up your right to have an opinion back on that transport ship.
Fincher colors, ashamed.
We do it the hard way.
Alt opens up a tool cabinet and grabs a big wrench. Holding area, entrance to the Cerberon section, corrupted by methane due to the encroachment of the organic matter. Moonlight is in front. Hudgens has his assault rifle. The others, whatever makeshift weapons they've been able to cobble together. All the humans wear breathers. Dead Meat, Alt, and Hudgens still wear their environment suits. Fanning, Lester, and Fincher have scavenged work gloves and other protective gear to protect any bare skin.
Remember, don't let them touch any part of you. Keep behind us. This could get ugly.
You mean as opposed to the rest of my life?
11 minutes.
All right.
Moonlight, Fanning, Alt, and the others advance cautiously.
Hey, Alt.
What?
Back on the transport, I saw something weird. That Cerberon prisoner had his tendril in the dead pilot's spine and was running him like a puppet.
Yeah, it's something they can do, at least for a short time. He must have been accessing the dead pilot's mind, seeing how to fly the ship. Not that it did him much good.
No.
They round the bend and come to a dead end. What used to be the oxygen corridor has been blocked by twisted Cerberon matter. A strange alien howling issues from up ahead. They slow, dismayed. Moonlight flashes.
They know we're coming.
The humans exchange nervous glances. Moonlight pulls off his own sheathing.
Hudgens.
Hudgens aims his weapon at the side wall and fires. It punches a hole in the corridor into the adjoining methane corridor. Followed by the others, they step through to find an ominous corridor that grows darker as it progresses, disappearing up ahead into the gloom. Moonlight's in the lead. The others follow, makeshift weapons at the ready. We play the creepiness of the moment as they move into the progressive darkness. And then suddenly, Cerberons erupt from every possible crevice, and they're upon our guys, flailing, throwing themselves at them. Moonlight, he shoves Lester aside and blocks 4 of his own, launching into the attack. It's an amazing sight as he wields its tentacles with amazing speed and skill like a martial arts master. This towering Cerberon battling 4 of his kind. They're fighting back fiercely, slashing at him wildly. Lester's backing to the wall as the Cerberon advances on him. Hudgens steps in front of him and blasts it. On Fanning, as 2 Cerberons race along a wall towards her, she plunges a makeshift spear into one, but the other bats her weapons aside and is upon her. She grapples with it as its tendrils whip about, trying to sting her. Then Alt is there, battering at it with his wrench, pulling the creature off her. It turns on him and pulls him deep into the darkness, wrestling with it.
Alt!
She tries to pursue it, but 3 more Cerberons drop down from above, surrounding her. On Alt in the darkness, wrestling with the Cerberon as it tears shreds off his clothing, as he does everything he can to avoid having his bare skin touched. Then the creature plays its trump card, tearing Alt's breather away from him. Alt's suffocating in the methane atmosphere. He tries to crawl away, but the creature is pulling him back, knowing he'll be dead within mere moments. On Moonlight and the Cerberons, Moonlight is being battered mercilessly, outnumbered. He sinks down. It looks like he's finished. But with a last great effort of strength and will, he comes back up and a series of lightning moves kills his opponents, tearing them apart. On Fanning, the 3 Cerberons approaching her from all sides. She looks about wildly, but there's nowhere to run. She's done for. Seeing this, Fincher makes his decision and dives into the fray, fighting like mad, his weapon a sledgehammer. He kills them all, but at the last one of the dying Cerberons stings him with its tendril. He collapses, dying horribly. Hudgens, meanwhile, has his hands full. 3 Cerberons surround him. He blasts 2, but the 3rd closes, grappling for the weapon. He doesn't notice another Cerberon rising up behind him, about to strike. Though in blam, it liquefies and dies shrieking. Revealed Dead Meat has shot him with a hand weapon he scavenged earlier from the dead guard Sawyer, the one Sawyer told Slash worked on Cerberons like salt on a slug. Hudgens uses the startled moment to pull his weapon free and blast the remaining Cerberon.
Tell me you had that.
Don't tell you a lot of things.
On Alt, in the darkness, gasping his last as he frantically crawls forward, the Cerberon grabbing at him from behind, pulling at him. But finally, Alt reaches what he's been crawling towards, an emergency airlock, still intact although surrounded by Cerberon organic matter. Alt punches the control and the hatch slides open. He dives in, the Cerberon hauled in with him. In the airlock, with his last ounce of strength, Alt punches the activation button and the methane atmosphere is purged and replaced by oxygen. Now the shoe's on the other foot. The Cerberon tries frantically to get back out the way it came, but Alt holds tight to this flailing creature, tearing it apart with his gloved hands. It liquefies and dies. Back in the methane corridor, Fanning cradles the dying Fincher's head.
Tell me why the fuck I did that.
He dies. Wyden as the others join him. Hudgens shakes his head, eyeing Fincher's body.
He was a dick. He had balls.
Lester gives that the appropriate take it deserves. Fanning rises. Moonlight flashes, nodding ahead of them down the corridor.
The ship's down there.
Cerberon section, docking bay. Moonlight, Hudgens, Fanning, and Alt lead the others toward the open hatch of the Cerberon transport ship. Interior Cerberon transport ship, they enter cautiously, Hudgens' gun at the ready. The Cerberon pilot and co-pilot sit at their stations. The last 2 Cerberon guards stand between them and the entering humans, facing the humans. Hudgens approaches them, gun leveled. Alt and Moonlight flanking him. Moonlight flashes at them.
Stand down, stand down.
Lightning fast, before anyone can stop them, the Cerberon guards wheel on the Cerberon pilots and shoot tendrils through their nerve stems, killing them. They crumple to the deck. With a cry of frustration, Hudgens blasts the guards to pieces, scattering their remains on the deck. Fuck! He looks about in desperation at the dead Cerberons, their pieces scattered about. Lester checks his tattoo data screen.
3 minutes, somebody better think of something.
Alt's eye falls on one of the dead pilots. He turns to Moonlight.
Moonlight, can you grab a hold of its nerve system, get into its mind, fly us out of here?
Moonlight flashes.
It's not done. Fuck that, you've been doing a lot of things you guys can't do.
Moonlight flashes.
You're fucking right, I got a point. Please.
Moonlight considers, then moves to the dead pilot.
2 minutes.
Alt, shooting Fanning a glance, addresses the others.
Everybody, strap yourselves in.
Moonlight towers over the dead pilot, then shoots a tendril into its spine. Instantly, the dead creature stirs and starts to manipulate the controls. The hatch closes, and engines fire up. A shudder runs through the ship as it starts to stir.
All right!
Alt and Fanning secure themselves side by side, Lester and Deadmeat beside them. Hudgens is in the back row. He lays his weapon beside his seat.
Oh, unless you want to see me wet myself, let's get the fuck out of here.
Terminus Station, power core. As the Cerberon organic matter reaches the core, it begins to destroy itself in pyrotechnic glory. The Cerberon transport ship detaches from its mooring and hurtles along the deployment corridor. Alarms wailing and lights flashing. It bursts out of the station and speeds away from it. A beat, then the station explodes spectacularly. Inside the Cerberon ship, as it takes the impact, shudders hard. Alt grabs Fanning's hand. The ship speeds away. Moonlight continues working the pilot, who keys into the hyperdrive. The ship enters the hyperdrive trench for Earth. The humans erupt in cheers. Alt approaches Moonlight, puts a hand on his shoulder.
You did good, big guy.
Moonlight manipulates the pilot to enter a final command, then withdraws his tendril from the creature's spine. It slumps dead in the pilot's seat. Moonlight rises, flashes.
Autopilot engaged. Where'd you set us to land?
Moonlight flashes. Alt smiles.
California. I tell you, you don't like the women.
Fanning joins them, smiling. The others unbuckle from their seats. Hudgens glances beside him. His weapon is gone.
What?
Lester looks through the viewport at hyperspace speeding by.
I can't believe it. I actually survived.
There's the sound of a weapons blast. Lester looks down, sees he's all right, then looks over at Moonlight, who has a gaping hole in his midsection. He crumples to the floor. Alt and Fanning gape at him in horror, then turn to see Tarpinian, in breather emerging from hiding, smoking assault weapon in hand. He faces the others, weapon trained on them.
Well done, Captain. Over there, all of you.
Deadmeat reaches for the weapon in his pack. Tarpinian blasts it, melting away most of Deadmeat's robotic arm in the bargain.
No, you don't.
Alt, Fanning, Hudgens, Lester, and Deadmeat move to stand amongst the blasted body parts of the dead Cerberon guards.
You don't have to do this. We're headed home.
Well, you see, there's a problem with that. I can't have any of you talking about what I've been up to here recently.
He draws nearer them and smiles wolfishly at Fanning.
It might not matter, but, you know, why should I take the
Alt
chance?
moves laterally and Tarpinian fires, but in that moment Alt dives down with his one gloved hand, hurls the severed tendril of a Cerberon guard at Tarpinian. The tendril strikes him, wrapping around his neck and face. Poisoned, he cries out, flinging his weapon aside and falling to the deck, dying. Fanning crouches by him as he lets out a last gurgling breath and expires. Moonlight struggles to rise but can't. He flashes fitfully as Alt kneels by him.
We're safe. It's okay. We're safe. You did good, Moonlight.
Moonlight flashes weakly.
Can you see Earth? Yeah. Yeah, we're almost there.
He takes a tendril in his gloved hand and strokes it.
Blue all over with white clouds. Water shimmering. And you and me tooling down the PCH. Pull over a Malibu. Run onto the fine white sand and dive into the surf.
Moonlight's dead. Alt stands, gazing down at him.
Just you and me.
Fanning approaches him, puts a hand on his shoulder. Deadmeat and Lester join them, grieving too. Fanning notices Alt's looking past her grimly, follows his gaze. Hudgens stands holding his weapon on them, having retrieved it from Tarpinian, whose body he stands over.
Any further thoughts, Arthur?
I was just thinking.
He glances down at Tarpinian's body.
The team that fuck was on. Guess I'm on the other one.
He puts up his gun. Alt nods, grateful, puts an arm around Fanning. Hudgens approaches the viewport, contemplates hyperspace, speeding them home. Alt and Fanning join him, then Lester and Deadmeat. Deadmeat eyes Alt, the first hint of a smile on his lips as they all contemplate the future. Uncertainty mixed with hope. Exterior space, the Cerberon ship skimming toward the blue-green gem of Earth hanging in the velvet night. Dissolved 2, interior, car, day, close on Fanning. Light and shadow play over her face, a mirror of the shot we saw up top, but this time her expression holds contentment.
Last night I dreamed I was in my bird. I was free.
Angle over to see Alt by her side at the wheel, driving along the Pacific Coast Highway.
And I woke up.
Widen to reveal Hudgens, Lester, and Deadmeat in the back seat.
I had a job to do.
Exterior Pacific Coast Highway on a flying car, gliding above the roadway away from us, the sky a cool blue with soft clouds, and the sea like a blanket that stretches forever as we fade out the end.